Right where you are right in this moment is exactly where you were meant to be.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Welcome to the Joygasmic Life Podcast. I am your hostess, Elena Harder. This is a mini episode designed to give you a taste of what is available in our larger full interviews, as well as what we get into in the deeper version of our membership, where we have full video, bonus courses with our interviewees, and of course our weekly calls where we support each other mom to mom. We'd love to have you as part of the Joygasmic Life membership. I've listened to you have like several very extensive podcasts where you go into this in detail. So I'll make sure that we reference those in the show notes for people who are like, gosh, I just need to hear more from you, because you do lay it out in such a crystal clear way that I haven't really heard anybody be brave enough to do.
Yeah, I don't think anybody else sees it. I don't think anybody else has seen it, to tell you the truth. Now they see it because I've been talking about it for 10, 12 years. Now you've got people saying circumcision is satanic ritual abuse. It's trauma-based mind control. Because I've been saying it. I've been saying it for over a decade. Okay.
Yeah.
So now people are seeing it. But let's just look at a couple of basics. Circumcision is one of them. Let's look at induction.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Labor. Okay. So what does the word induction mean?
Induce, like to make something happen.
An induction is an initiation. So military people are inducted into the military. Police are inducted into the police academy. Okay. Infants are being inducted into a satanic civilization.
Into a ritualized repetition of putting their power in somebody else's hands, trusting in the technocracy, trusting in Western medical. They're being inducted into all of those sort of patterns, being out of control of their own lives.
Yeah, well, yes.
Because the baby's supposed to choose when it's born, right? The baby says, "I'm ready now, mom," and starts this whole cascade of hormones that causes the birth process. So when you say, let's do it at it's happening today instead of when the baby chooses, based on incorrect calculations for when the babies should be due and gestation dates that are inaccurate, and we could get into that whole spiel, but we don't need to. Keep going.
Well, let me just say that the baby should have dominion over the timing of its birth. This is a spiritual thing. There's a time and date that this baby is supposed to come in astrologically, and then the medical establishment comes in and forces a premature birth. The baby is not ready to be born, or it would have initiated labor. It doesn't initiate labor. The medical establishment impresses on the psyche of this baby that it does not have dominion over its life, that something outside of him or her is going to have control over this child's life. This is a very it's an imprinting on the psyche of that child to get that child to understand it's not going to have control over its life in this realm. This is a satanic realm, and this baby is being born in a temple, a Luciferian temple of the occult. That's what a hospital is. It's a Luciferian temple of the occult. And it's going to be born through tremendous violence, right? So these drugs are going to cause immense pain for the baby. They're going to cause a break between the connection. See, the baby should have a connection with the divine mind as it's making its entrance.
Yeah.
It's going to lose that because of the trauma.
It can't do that if it's drugged up on epidurals. It loses its ability to regulate its body when Pitocin's in the cycle, and Pitocин's saying like, go, 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 go. It's like, just.
The Pitocin causes unnatural contractions that crush the baby. So the uterus is turned into a trash compactor, right? One contraction after another contraction after another contraction. With no natural birth, the contraction comes, it raises, it peaks, it eases off, the body rests. Okay, and that's when the baby recovers, the heart rate recovers. But that recovery period, it doesn't happen with Pitocin. It's just a steamroller, one after another, crushing this baby. They would have broken the water. Okay, the water is like, the amniotic sac is padding It's there to protect the baby in part. It's there for a variety of reasons, but during labor, it's like padding to so that the contractions won't crush the baby. So they break the water. Sometimes they'll do the internal, fetal heart monitors and screw this thing into the soft spot of the baby's head. So this thing is pulling and tugging on the baby's head every time. There's hello. And then the mother is going to be begging for the epidural because she's going to be having to deal with natural contractions.
And the endorphins haven't come in. And even if you have natural hormones going on, if you're on an IV drip, they dilute the natural hormones so they don't have the same effect on the body. It's just like, it's mental.
Pitocin is synthetic oxytocin. Pitocin is a chemical form of oxytocin. Okay, so when you inject Pitocin into the body of a laboring mother, you are going to undermine that mother's ability to produce natural oxytocin. That's the point. The point is to undermine love. The point is to interfere with bonding. The point is to traumatize mother and child and break up that family. That is the point of all of this. There is zero benefit to any of it. None of it. Everything they do causes trauma. Every single thing. And I've documented this in my birth trauma book. Are you okay?
I'm okay. Yeah, I'm going to do some deep breathing once we're done for sure. And if anybody's listening to this and in that place, it's just like, you're so firm with it. And like, I get it. And I'm the one who's usually like, guys, this is really bad. But like, you just take it one level harder and deeper, which I appreciate. That's why I wanted to talk.
It's got to be seen. We have to see this because we're under mind control. We are all under mind control, from television, from music videos, from the educational system, which has completely befuddled our capacity to be what we are intended to be. It has dumbed us down, made us moronic, stupid, and not questioning anything, not analyzing anything, not, obeying and being drones. And so we march into these hospitals and with the belief that this is the safest place. Now, let me ask you something. Hospitals are places of death, of extreme illness, of surgeries and trauma and pain of all kinds. What kind of person believes that that's the best place to bring a baby into the world?
One who's programmed.
Exactly. We are under mind control. And how do we break the mind control? Listening to somebody like Jeanice say this. Look, this is what this is. Yeah. You must see this because you're suffering and your children are suffering worse. Yeah. And your families are likely to break down. When birth is traumatic, that family is likely to break down. Okay? Yeah. Because birth is intended to bond that family together forever. That's what it does. That's what it should do. When it's interfered with, when there's severe trauma, when the father goes into parasympathetic shock at witnessing the abuse of his beloved and his child, that mother is no longer going to trust him. This is on a very unconscious level. She's going to think to herself, he didn't protect us. Yeah. I can't trust him anymore. And this is the beginning of the end for that marriage. Yeah. Okay? Yeah.
When I heard you say that the first time, I was like, oh, I understand what happened to my relationship.
Exactly.
Like, I understand. I understand why it didn't work. It's just like, he didn't protect us. Where was he? Why didn't he say something? Why didn't he do something? And it's like, it's traumatic to not be protected, but it's also traumatic to, on the man's side, to have your power stripped away, to not even be in the space, to have, to have you to stand there and watch whatever. It just amplifies and deepens, that circumcision wound that we're talking about of like, I can't do anything. And we're so programmed that like doctors know best and medicine is the solution, that it takes a very personally centered, grounded, anchored in their own wisdom and their own knowing kind of man to say, hey, stop that, and that's why doulas have jobs, because Right?
Get your hand off my baby, and don't you dare put that goddamn scissor near my wife's vagina. They're cutting people with episiotomies. These people are scissor happy. I mean, they're attacking genitals of mothers and babies, cutting into women's bodies and cutting off infant body parts. This is a sickness. This is a sick cult. Okay? And the fathers are many of them feel powerless. And then they feel worse, as you said, about themselves, that they weren't able to protect their beloved or their babies from this kind of abuse and this kind of a violence. So it is a key to why families are breaking down. It is an absolute, the medical establishment is the driving force behind the breakdown of family love. They are a fundamental part of this. So
and they profiteer from it. They profiteer from selling foreskins, from selling placentas, from the breakdown of the relationship. The same people that are running that establishment are also running most of commerce. And so, all of a sudden you've got two households buying twice as many things. Everybody's, we're doubling up. You've got divorce lawyers in there. You've got trauma. You've got, counselors that are getting Western medical counselors that are getting paid. You got therapists that are getting paid. And this is what's wrong with, a profit-driven consumerism. A people-centered consumerism can do nice things. It's pretty darn rare in the world. There are some companies out there that are operating from that model, still operating in consumerism or capitalism, but operating from people's highest good and intent. But the majority of commerce is running from this extraction, profit-driven mentality, and it doesn't benefit people.
It's parasitical, and it's evil. It's evil. One of the things that just came up as you were talking is not only are fathers forced to watch, but they're invited to participate, meaning they're going to be invited to cut the cord of their infants,
which shouldn't be done.
Clamping the umbilical cord is also extremely violent, because that baby, when the baby is born, the baby comes out, the umbilical cord's attached to the baby, the placenta's still in the mother, and there's blood going, right? And that's supposed to go to the baby. That's filled with vital nutrients and stem cells that baby needs.
Hormones. Yeah. Hormones of love, right? Like that. The mom's like, oh my God, love. And it's pumping into the placenta, and the baby's pumping love, and the mom is pumping love. And all that blood's rushing into the baby.
Should go to the baby.
It should go to the baby.
And it is also the baby's oxygen supply.
Yeah. Which keeps them safe from, not
from
breathing immediately birth, from brain damage,
from brain damage, and a variety of other things, lung damage, immune system damage.
Yeah. Okay.
So what do they say to the father? Would you like?
You're the one.
Would you like to cut the cord and cut off your baby's blood supply, and so that we can harvest the blood
and sell
it off to the highest bidders? Okay, and they've been doing it for centuries. This is really happening. And that's where our baby's cord blood is going.
Instead of into them to make them healthy, happy. And not to mention, I just did a podcast this morning with a woman who was talking about Lotus Birth and the fact that it takes 3 to 7 days for that soul connection, that the connection for the baby to really separate psychically and spiritually from the placenta. And you're like, it's happening like this on somebody else's time at the moment of birth. How all those things play into our inability to feel like we're in control of our lives, like we have impact, like we matter, like things that we want in life mean something. It's just it's so, you get worked up about it. I get worked up about it, but it makes sense to get worked up about it because it's so effed up. It's so messed up what's happening. And this is why, you and I are both, and many, many other mothers are so passionate about wanting to create a place where women understand physiological birth, where they understand why it's important to do all of this on your body and your baby's time. There's so much more for you over in the Joygasmic Life membership. Become a bulletproof mom with us. Learn the tips and tricks and skills you need to recover from your postpartum mental health journey, and learn the tools of Joygasmic alchemy so you can have the kind of birth you've been dreaming of.